Hi, it's Paul from Wolf Software Systems Limited. WolfStack and WolfNet. So some updates and some extra things that we've done. Oh, excuse me. Firstly, WolfNet, we discovered on some kernels that the processor was running a little bit high. And it turns out that the reason for that is that some kernels were hammering the interface with IPv6 data, but of course it's IPv4, we're not interested in IPv6, on that interface. So WolfNet now runs at literally nothing. It's really, really quiet. Doesn't hardly sits there, and also the speed of it is much faster. So WolfNet, for those of you who don't know, is because of my frustration with Wolf. Back when we used Proxmox, we used to have to set up software-defined networks. In other words, networks that weren't really built into hardware or anything. They're just like a software layer. And I thought, wouldn't it be cool to have a mesh network that you could install with WolfStack, with anything else, where you could just assign an IP address, and it would automatically build the network across your cluster, and you could just assign IP addresses really easily to it, and it would just work without you fiddling around adding IP addresses to like lists of IP addresses, creating, don't have to have any messing around with interfaces or anything. So it creates its own interface. So you'll see that on a standard WolfStack installation, you'll see things like these ones have WolfNet IPs 10.0, 10.5, 10.10.4. And if I go into the network settings, we've actually made some improvements here as well. We've got a lot more information going on here. So this is the WolfNet interface. There's its IP address. You literally just assign it. You don't actually have to do any of that. WolfStack and WolfNet kind of work together to do that for you, and it makes it really easy. And of course, everything can talk to everything else, so there's no messing around. So even if you've got a Windows virtual machine or a virtual machine, you can set up it. Normally, it'll automatically assign a WolfNet. So if you install a VM, it should automatically pick up WolfNet and set up an IP address for you. So you don't even have to fiddle around with that. It's got to be easier, hasn't it? So yeah, it's a user mode network. So it'll just pick up the IP address. And then we've built some other things we've done as well. Is you'll see that we've got this big backups controller thing, because I got really fed up with having to copy my Proxmox details from one cluster to another. So now you can actually just have your Proxmox details entered in one place, and you can pull the Proxmox setup from a cluster and just deploy it across everything, because we only use one Proxmox cluster server across everything. So we've got backup history and stuff like that. So that's a bit of an extension to backups. Also in the App Store, we've got some new stuff. So we've got a whole games section under gaming with some games servers that you can install. Things like Minecraft, different versions of Minecraft, Power World, 7 Days to Go, Rust. That's the programming language, but this is actually a game as well, which is just to drive you completely. So the App Store is all. The other thing with the App Store is if you install it, you can choose the server where it's going to go. Any server on any cluster in your WolfStack dashboard, right? Okay, so these are we've got 7, and 3 of those are actually in my office, but so that's actually my laptop. So you can set WolfStack up on your own on a laptop. You don't have to set it up on a server, and then you can add all your servers to it in the cluster, and then you can actually turn off the interface on those clusters. I'll show you how to do that in a second. So if I choose Giant, for instance, you can choose what storage to put it on, and then you hit install. I won't do that because that's a Proxmox cluster, and we're running production on it. So you just get the idea there, and of course we've got Docker container management, which we really love, and in fact, there's this, So I've actually on this one I've actually got a WolfRun cluster running. WolfRun is our scaling system, based on Kubernetes, but without all those horrendous files. In fact, it's showing this one's offline, but it's brought up another one, so that's all right. So yeah. That's it. So there's quite a few updates. Again, the idea is that, and also the file manager. We've done some updates to that. You've now got modified dates and times. You can search. You can rename. You can download. If it's a file, obviously you can download stuff like that. It makes it much nicer. And then up here you've got the directory. So if you go into a directory, you can just click there to get back up. Again, it's quite easy. But the idea is, and it works with containers as well, containers and Dockers as well. So you can go to an LXC container, hit the file manager, and of course you can't do that because the container's not running. So it's come up with that message. We'll just close that. So let's go back to our file. The container actually does have to be running for you to get access to it. So if I kick off this one here, I need to clean up these containers. They're just used for demos. We've added a lot more of these nice messages to really help you out as well. so that now I can go into the file manager. And the beauty of this is, like, so we've got a guy that does UI and UX for us. I just built this amazing new website. I'll just show you that. wolf.uk.com. We've got this fantastic new website. He's just built this. And one of the things we had to do was, he doesn't really do system stuff. Sorry, that's very exciting, isn't it? Where are we there? Okay, he really doesn't do system stuff, but now he does, because he could use WolfStack. Makes it so easy for him to just go and upload the file to, we'll build him a quick container and set up the networking. And then he'll just use the file manager to upload stuff. He'll then hit on the terminal, get into the terminal, straight into the container. And the beauty, in fact, the thing about it here as well is, don't forget that there's 3 Proxmox clusters in here. You can just drop it straight on Proxmox. But this is actually, there's 2 servers in this cluster. It's actually a Minio cluster, but we've started just using it for everything. And we're running LXC containers. And there's just a lot of options, which is, you can see how full disks are and things like that. It shows you a lot of information, including, you'll see it shows the smart information. So it actually does a hardware check of those disks. Actually, 46, 47 degrees is about. We know that there is a Wolf disk setup on that, but I haven't set it up properly. It's not running, so but it's like, you can set up S3 storage on it. You can do network routing just by simply, you can set up a WireGuard bridge and then just download WireGuard and connect straight into it. You can do public IP mappings. So you can do, it's a lot. I know it's a lot, but if you're a beginner, it's really cool, because you can just start with some basic stuff, even set it up on one machine or a VPS or something. We've got it running on a Raspberry Pi. And certainly with the new WolfNet stuff, it's really brilliant, because it hardly uses any resources at all. It's just, this was completely born out of my own frustration with trying to run multiple Proxmox clusters, and just thinking, well, we could do so much better, and we could have so much more, and we've got status pages. There's so much more. that was a bit of a wonder, but as a dashboard. So for instance, I've got 17 servers here. I can see every single server in all these, in the 5 clusters we've got. And I can see what's going on with them. I know these guys run at high memory. That's because they're running a game. But then I've got these bookmarks, so they link through to different things straight away. And I've got a dashboard that shows me at a glance everything that's going on with all my servers, all my clusters. We've got AI built into it. This AI knows all about every server and cluster that you've got. We've got loads of different themes. You can set up alerting. So we've actually got this set up for our Discord. So if I go to our Discord, we've got this. This is alerts coming from WolfStack. So WolfStack is finding issues. So for instance, here we go. So alert CPU exceeded on WolfStack 2. I do need to have a look at that, because it shouldn't have done that. And it's going, this is what you need to do. Have a look at these things. Try and see what is causing that load. And then it shows you Cynthia had a health alert. And so it keeps track of it, and it actually uses AI to recommend you to have a look at what's going on that server. And and that get better. Now the beauty of it is, of course, if you don't like AI, you can just turn it off. So all you do in the settings, you just don't set it up. So in the AI agent, you just don't set it up. You can back up and restore your configs. There's a thing to, so this is just so you can have a new cluster secret if you want to generate different cluster secrets. And we can now link directly to Patreon. We do encourage people to there's a €3 a month or £3 a month, something like that, $4 a month. If you want to donate to this, because we're not charging anyone, we want to really build it. We do want to work with enterprises who are going to have hundreds of servers to see how we can use that. But I just think it's just really turned out great. I'm so pleased with it. And I think as a business, we're really happy with it. I know we get incredible amounts of people using it, from home labbers up to, like people like us running multiple clusters, whether they're WolfStack clusters, standalone machines, or Proxmox clusters. You just install it straight on top of Proxmox in WolfNet, and suddenly you've got something that's much more enhanced. So you could go to the WolfStack website. It's wolfstack.org, or you can go to wolf.uk.com. Get in touch with us if you want some development work done. Obviously, you can see what we've done here. And really good. Have a good day. Thank you very much.